Ah, no, stop! I'm doing things, I promise. Okay, well, that's a little louder than normal. Ooh, drinky drink! Yeah. That might be too loud. That might be too loud. I want to turn it down just a bit. Because here's the thing. Last time I was doing this, I feel like the game itself was a little louder than I wanted it to be. Go away, little thing. I feel like the game was a, hey, what That doesn't make any sense. I'm sorry. Your sentence doesn't make much sense. Anyway. But yeah. I feel like the game itself was louder than I wanted it to be because I kind of wanted the music to come through more and my own voice to come through more, but it was just like, the game. You are loud. I am loud? Am I loud? Yeah, let me adjust. Do this. How's that? Is that better? The music is almost too loud. I'll turn that down. Okay. Tulsi! How's that? Is that better? Let's go to the top of this hill. This is why you have friends. Not because you enjoy hanging out with them, but so they can be on the other end of the thing and you can adjust things the way they need to be. Okay, yo, let me pull up my little thingamathing that I wrote down, because I've been writing down a lot of thingamathings. Where did I write it down? Right here! I think you're good. Personal preference, I like hearing the game. Yeah, but I like the music. And it's all about me. That is good stuff. Anyway, so the inspiration for what we're going to be going over this time is from a show that I'm watching. Ooh! Hey, where is this stuff? Yeah, there are two thoughts specifically that I had from the show that I was watching, and some of you might know it. It's called Your Lie in April. Yeah, it's fairly well known among the anime community as being a really sad, really well done. It's okay. It's okay. I won't go into a lot of detail on the game because this isn't the review for Your Lie in April. This is my thoughts, random thoughts that were kind of related to it, but don't really actually have anything to do with the show. But that's where this comes from. My first thought comes from this relationship that occurs between both introverted and extroverted people. It's a trope you see a lot, honestly, in shows especially. But you have extroverted main character, not extrovert, introverted main character, who either is awkward socially or kind of has a brooding personality, or is just something of a, I'm dropping stuff. It's just something of a downer, you know? Not the most fun at parties, let's say. And then extroverted main character, usually a love interest. But extroverted main character comes in and shows introvert the glories and the joys of being extroverted and how they need to get pushed out of their shell and sally forth and experience all the wonderful things that life has to offer, you know? Which honestly is that's a thing that I can respect to a point. You know, as an introvert myself, I tend to like to keep to my own company, you know? I like to hang out with myself a lot, and even my good friends, sometimes I'm just like, I need a break from y'all. I just need to be alone and do my own thing. And as an introvert, as somebody who doesn't like going outside and doesn't like being around a bunch of people, it's good. My job in particular that I do requires that I talk to people, and I think it's really, really good for me. Maybe you do. I would be surprised if you didn't. I would want a break from me as well. Honestly. Like, frickin' heck. I would annoy the crap out of myself. I would seriously annoy me. I would annoy me a lot, probably. Maybe not that much. I don't know. It's fun to think about. But anyway, you know, that's a trope. As an introvert, I can definitely attest to you that I feel like introverts do need to be pushed out of their shells. They need to be pushed out of their comfort zones. They need to learn social skills. They need to learn how to deal with people. Brian never wants a break from me. Shane, no comment. No comment. I love you, Shane. You're great. Let's just say that. It's supposed to be a dab. Yeah. But you know, I'm an introvert, and I've needed to get pushed out of my shell, pushed out of my comfort zone in order to learn social skills, learn how to deal with people. Generally speaking, I'd rather spend time with myself. But, you know, it's good to have those skills. It's good to know how to work with people. It's good to learn how to have fun like an extrovert. That's good. You need to do that. But the problem with the show that I'm watching, and a problem with a lot of the shows, and especially because I feel like this is a trope, is that seems to be the only thing that people see. The only thing that most media shows is that this is how it's supposed to be. If you are introverted, that is bad, and you need to be extroverted. Being extroverted is the good way, is the good thing. And introverted people need to constantly be pushed out of their comfort zone and into that brighter, sunny area. They need to get out of their dark, brooding self and get into that sunny, bubbly self. Because dark brooding is bad. It's bad, 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 bad. And again, while I think introverts need to learn the social skills, I don't totally agree with that sentiment that they always need to constantly be that. Being introverted or being brooding or being of a darker personality, shall we say, is a bad thing. In fact, I think in many ways it actually can be a good thing. Because, let's say you got extroverted people, right? At some point they're going to find themselves alone. They're going to find themselves with only themselves for company. They're going to find themselves in places where they are brooding and they are sad and dealing with the darker emotions of the human experience. So, and a lot of times when extroverts get there, they panic, they stress, because they're alone and they don't like being alone. A lot of times extroverts seek out people simply because they're scared of being alone and they don't know how to do it. And that's something an extrovert can learn from an introvert, is to be okay with being alone. Be okay with the darker, brooding, sad, melancholy, slightly angry emotions that one might experience, you know. Dealing with the general, there's a word Yahtzee used. General disdain for other people, because extroverts are going to feel that. Extroverts are going to be annoyed with people. Like when you're driving in your car, like my mouth, when I'm in a car, oh my gosh, it gets way bad. And I'm not the only one who does that. And so, if you don't have a lot of experience with dealing with those kinds of emotions, they're going to cause a problem. And you're going to maybe say something that you'll end up regretting, do something that you'll end up regretting, or it's just a big stress thing. Hey, there's a dude here. And so I don't like that trope. I don't like how common that trope is in not just anime, but like media in general. This idea that if you are an introvert, you need to be kicked out of your bubble because it's bad to be introverted. There's a show, actually, let's back up. So there's a YouTuber that I like to watch who does reviews of anime and whatnot, and one show that he particularly likes that I kind of want to watch, but I've got so many other things that I want to watch, and I'm probably never going to actually get around to it, but it's called Laid Back Camp in English, Yuru Campu in Japanese, and apparently, according to him, this does a really good job of demonstrating what a healthy introvert-extrovert relationship should look like. It never demonizes the main character, who is an introvert and who likes to camp by herself. It never demonizes her, or demonizes kind of seems like a strong word, but it's a nicer word that says that, you know, it never downplays, it never presents it as a bad thing that she likes to go camping by herself and she prefers her own company. And But there is a friend that this main character makes who is an extrovert and wants to go camping with everybody, and is, does that typical thing of pushing the introvert out of her comfort zone, but only to a certain extent. And in fact, what ends up happening is this mutual understanding and this mutual exchange, where at the end of the series, the introverted girl, they've been learning to camp with other people through most of the series, but at the end, the extroverted girl tries and learns to appreciate camping alone. And you see this beautiful harmony between introvert and extrovert, where they are learning from each other, and they are learning to be okay with the fact that other people enjoy things differently than themselves. And again, with this show that I'm watching, I have mixed emotions about it, but that's one of my biggest issues that I have with this thing. Is it's too much we gotta just push the introvert out of his comfort zone and make him an extrovert. Now, what was the other thing I was going to talk about? I dropped my list. I dropped my stuff. Hey, my dude. Ooh. Come here, little things. Yee. So the other thing that I was thinking of when I was watching this show is a little bit about Japanese culture. Now, everybody here knows that I am a big fan of Japanese culture. Generally speaking, I like more traditional Japanese culture, but I'm also down for the modern culture as well. And I love it. I genuinely love it. I think it's great, and I think Japanese culture in particular has a lot that it can teach Americans especially, but Westerners in general. But there's something about Japanese culture. There's this one thing. Actually, it's not just one thing, but occasionally you run into aspects of a culture that you don't like at all. And Japanese culture, one of these things that I have a mixed love-hate relationship with is the whole beat around the bush type of thing, For anybody who in the future may watch this and doesn't know, Japanese culture is very circumspectual. They're not straightforward, let's say that. Being straightforward comes off as standoffish? Comes off as strong and rude to a degree. It's essentially saying, I don't care about what other people around me think. I'm going to say what I want to say, and other people's feelings be damned, Which means that they don't say what they're actually thinking. They don't say what they're feeling. Which I think is a good skill to have, is to understand I think there's another shiny over in this one place. I think that's a good skill that a lot of Americans lacked, is that subtlety of communication, of picking up on things that aren't obvious. And that's a skill I think you should have as well. But at the same time, at some point, especially when it comes to really big important topics or really big important ideas, like ideas that might directly lead to the happiness or misery of the participants, sometimes you just need to straight say it, okay? So I'm watching this show, and spoiler alerts for frickin' what is that show that I'm watching? Spoiler alerts for Your Lie in April. But the main character has a sickness. She's got a little disease, okay? And it's slowly killing her. And the show alludes to it throughout the whole runtime, and it slowly builds, and initially it's something really simple, like she passes out once, or we get shots of her and she has a lot of medication, and little things that just sort of build up over time, but they never come out and say it. And the one girl herself never tells her friends that she has a terminal illness. She never says that. She never is just like, hey, just so you guys know, um, I'm really sick. No, 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 because she's got to be cognizant of the other people's feelings. She's got to be cognizant of her friends' emotions, and she doesn't want to hurt them mentally. And it's fine up until a point, but at some point I'm just like, look. Oh yeah, that's what happens. So she has another pass out, and there's a big to do, and she's in the hospital again for the second time. And at this point, like, even an idiot would realize, okay, this is way bigger than she's letting on. And she keeps insisting to her friends, though, that it's not a big deal. I just collapsed again. It happens all the time, but there's no problem here. I'm just in the hospital to get some testing done, yada, yada, yada. You know, just trying to downplay the whole situation. And I'm sitting here thinking, like, oh my gosh. Just tell them, okay? We're not dumb. Everybody knows. We already understand. Okay? Just say, oh my gosh, we have 5 people watching. Wow, that's insane. Yo, if y'all want to be part of the conversation, because I'm probably going to run out of stuff to talk about, please join. Oh man, they left. Hey, my dude. Why is his thing longer? I missed a thing, yo. I missed a shiny. But anyway, where was I going with this? So that's the thing I hate. Like, I've been around, especially when it comes to those occasions where I have tried to date Japanese girls. Like, they never say straightforward. And if you're straightforward with them, it scares them away. Which is fine. I'm not saying it's necessarily a bad thing. But when, you know, you're kind of going that back and forth and you're trying to feel each other out and you're trying to be like, does she like me? Does she not? I don't know. It's really frustrating because what happens is, like, I would always get to a point where I would just be like, okay, it's do or die. Obviously, this is either going to go somewhere or it's not. So let's just, boom. Let's just get it right here. Get it out of the way. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. If it's not going to happen, it's not going to happen. And then just move on, you know. But trying to get a direct answer out of them is really hard. And again, it normally scares them. It usually scares them off. And nope, they don't want to deal with that. And from my perspective, well, from their perspective, I can well, which one's me? I can understand it. Because again, especially if you're in a foreign country, like if you come to the US and you're a small little Asian girl and these big old freaking American dudes are being really direct, like that can be freaking scary, yo. That can be terrifying. But at the same time, oh no, I pushed the thing wrong. It can be scary, but at the same time, at some point, the pitter-pattering around, the beating around the bush, does more damage than just being straight up and dealing with the emotional fallout. Like, look, bad things happen. People are gonna get hurt, especially when you start dealing, again, with this show, which is all about freaking romance, and especially young romance. Feelings are gonna get stepped on, no matter what you do. It's just sooner or later, and a lot of times you may think that you're letting them down easy, but what you're doing is you're just prolonging the inevitable and taking what could be a relatively short time of suffering and just dragging it out over an extended period of time and making a false hope and whatnot. So at some point, and everybody's breaking point is different, you know, you just got to be like, look, tell me straight up, and if it's bad, and then that way we can just be done and move on and not have to worry about it anymore after the requisite heartache or whatever. So that's just a facet of Japanese culture that, again, I have a love-hate relationship, because part of what attracts me to Japanese culture is that they can do that, is that they can be vague and beat around the bush and so cognizant of what everybody is thinking and still communicate that way. To me, you know, it's a less is more. If you can do more with less, if you can understand the subtleties of conversation, that's a sign of intelligence. And I like intelligence, you know. I like being smart. I like talking to people that are smart. And picking up on those small things definitely is a sign that you can do it. But at a certain point, you just gotta frickin' gird your loins, grow an enormous beard, just man up and just... I just slapped my thigh and now my hand hurts. Ow. So I don't want to present this necessarily as a bad thing. Because... Oh, that's an interesting topic. Good or bad in cultures? Are there good things? Are there bad things? Are there things that you can definitively say, this is good or this is bad about another culture? Take, for example, the beat around the bush thing that we're talking about. Can you say definitively that one is bad or one is good? Okay. My opinion is no. Because in certain instances, in certain situations, the beat around the bush method is important, because being direct and being upfront with your opinion is just going to piss people off, and pissing people off is going to do more harm than it will be good, But in other situations, beating around the bush and not dealing with the problem directly and just being straight up can cause miscommunications and can drag out problems and just be bad, It's just bad. But it's situational, right? So with that in mind, what about, let's say we have something like, what's something more harder to argue that it's good or bad? What about if you have... I have an idea, but I don't want to talk about it because that one is just really disturbing. Well, let's go ham, okay? Let's just go straight for the throat, okay? What about cannibalism? Okay? Is cannibalism a bad thing? Because there have been cultures in the world that practice cannibalism. Is cannibalism bad? I would say yeah. The idea of cannibalizing people is not something I'm really into. In any way, shape, or form. That being said, some cultures were like, it's fine. It's totally fine. Like, I mean, if the people are dead, why would you not eat them? That's just wasting meat. You're just gonna let their bodies rot without being useful to anybody? Like, come on. That's just dumb. And as freaking shocking as that might be, but, that is a logical line of thought that some people could argue makes cannibalism good. Now, I don't think so, because it's just... Oof. But, so... Hold on a second. What is he saying? It doesn't pop up on your screen. Chat isn't working. What the heck? Saying... Hold on. Let's see if we can't figure this out. Let's do comments. Almost too loud. Advanced settings. Comments to speech. Message to spectators. Yeah. Display. Okay. That's weird. Why it no work? Let me see. You scared them off. Doesn't look like the chat is working. That was really satisfying. Slap. I'm seeing the chat. Okay. So maybe I'll just... Oh, but that's dumb. Oh, you know what I could do? I could go like this, and then I could go like this, and then this way I can keep up with the chat. Give me a second. Go here, here, and this one. I'm gonna turn this down. Okay. Okay. Seeing the chat just fine. Okay, I'm gonna set this up right here. Well, that's obnoxious. I can't see the chat, at least from here. Then if that's the case, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to do advanced settings, and I'm gonna do that. So that way it's got the whole screen. Okay. Seeing the chat. Okay. We can see the chat, but Brian can't. So I have it set up to where I'm watching on my tablet so I can read the chat. I know there are more shinies in this place. How long have we been going, though? How long has this been going? Oh, crap. I don't know. Well, I can just be done at 9:30. That's how I know I've been going half an hour. That's cool. Alright, apologies. Guess I've had to do some ad-lib. Very nice. Half an hour. Yeah. So that's what I go. I usually like to do these for half an hour. So, if anybody has any other interesting ideas they want to talk about, let me know for these last couple of minutes. Because I am just pulling stuff out of my butt. I basically said my spiel that I wanted to say. Oh, there's a shiny, yo. Let's go get it. Look at the shiny. By the way, not you three who are watching, but just in case I put this on like the social medias and other people start watching. Oh no, come here. I need juice. I need shine light juice. But I am planning on doing a YouTube channel here where I'll be my opinions and analyses and stuff and little fun tidbits of things. I don't really know. But that's coming up at some point. And maybe this will serve as kind of a addendum to that. It'll talk about why I thought of these things, where they came from, maybe possibly a preview into what I plan on doing, / a follow-up to what I was talking about. I don't know, we'll see. This is all going to be kind of experimental, you know? Trying new things for the first time. It's fun. Nobody said anything new yet. Yeah. Light juice. I know there's more shinies in here, but I don't know where. Ah, there it is. I'm at least gonna go get this shiny. I agree with your whole thing on introvert-extrovert thing. Well, I'm glad you do. You know, it's always a funny thing. As a historian and as somebody who just, I'd like to say is an intellectual, but I don't know if I am an intellectual. Okay, so that's where the shiny is. But as somebody who considers himself an intellectual, I like to think that most everything in life is more complicated than people like to pretend it is. But yes and no. Sometimes, again, kind of going on the same deal. Complicated stuff, if we take the side of, you know, things are complicated, therefore we need to examine everything and be cognizant and aware and take our time. I think being aware is a good thing, but when it comes time for action, you know, you just need to, sometimes you do need to just be like, no, this is simple. We do X or we do Y. If do X, Y happens, or whatever, you know. Sometimes the simplicity of it and making things simple is necessary when it comes to actually doing something about it, you know? Oh, can I just fly up here? Ah, I didn't quite make it. But yeah, in general, introvert, extrovert, I don't think one is necessarily better than the other. I think they both have things to teach each other. Ah, come here, little friendo. Alright, but yeah, now I got the shiny. Homie's hanging out. I think I'm going to call that good. Options. Resume. Oh, whoa! I've never seen that happen before. Anyway, we'll call that here. Thank you all for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next one.